This is a story of my college days. I lived in a rented house with my roommate Nancy. She loved to party. On the other hand, I was always a shy girl. Even though we were poles apart, Nancy always cared for me like a big sister. She used to drive away bullies for me, took care of me whenever I felt sick. This is why I could never say to her, I admired her for being kind-hearted, even after being one of the popular girls on the campus. Our house was on the outskirts of the city. There were hardly 10 to 12 houses in our residential area. Nancy and I used to go to college together in her car. The day was 31st October, Halloween. After waking up in the morning, I went to the kitchen to make coffee. Nancy's bedroom was on the left side of the kitchen. After pouring myself a cup of coffee, I went to check on her to see if she had returned or not. Nancy was dating a guy who was a senior. He had a place of his own at 5 to 7 houses down from our place. She often spends the night with him and returns home early. I never had an issue with her staying away at night because this guy was a nice person, so I knew she would be safe. As I turned to head back to my room, Nancy opened the main door and entered the house. The reason I could tell it was her, because Nancy had a habit after coming home. She used to throw her shoes off on the floor, making loud thuds and calling out for me saying, "Katie, I'm home." Hearing her voice put a smile on my face. Nancy rushed towards me and said, "I have the most exciting news for us." I knew this would be about going to a party tonight. Still, to enjoy the excitement on her face, I pretended to be curious. She told me that her boyfriend is throwing a huge party at his house tonight. It's a Halloween costume party, and we both are invited there. I was never a party animal, but there was no way Nancy would have taken a no from me on this. She is crazy about Halloween parties. Anyways, I also wanted to go out and socialize a bit for a change, so I said yes. She really got excited and said we will go for our costume shopping after lunch. Calling off all other plans for one day, Nancy and I rode in her car and went to the city mall. The mall was quite crowded, and the entire decoration was Halloween themed. Almost all the shops had something related to Halloween for their customers. We started to check out the costumes in various shops. After roaming around for about an hour, Nancy and I finally bought our costumes. She wanted to be Harley Quinn and insisted me to buy the Catwoman outfit. I did, and we headed back towards the exit, just when Nancy said she had to pick up some snacks and poos, so we will have to go to the food mart for some time. The food mart was in the basement of the mall, so we got down the stairs. Many boys and girls were already wearing costumes and wandering around the food mart. Everyone seemed busy buying booze for their Halloween party. Nancy told me to wait near the vegetable corner and went to the right side to buy beers. I stood there for 2 to 3 minutes and kept watching everyone in an excited mood. Suddenly, my eyes went to the left corner of the food mart. I noticed a tall guy dressed as the urban legend, the Hookman, standing right after the entrance. His big hoodie over his head kept his entire face in darkness. Being honest, after looking at his hand, I felt kind of creepy. I kept looking at other directions just to understand if he was watching me or not. Every second standing there, I could tell that he was not only watching me, but literally scanning me with his dark hidden eyes. I stood like a statue for 10 minutes, then started to walk towards the alcohol section. I saw Nancy with lots of stuff in her handbasket standing near the billing queue. She was standing behind 2 people, so I felt relieved that we will leave soon. I walked towards her and stood beside her. She looked at me and said, "Thank God he came. My hands are so full. Help me." I quickly hid the tension on my face and held a few packets. My eyes kept checking every nook and corner for that guy, but I didn't see him. I thought he might have left with his friends, and I overthought the entire scenario. Nancy and I started walking towards the exit after paying the money. As usual, Nancy was talking about the party, and I calmed a bit. Just when we were 9 to 10 hands distance from the exit, I noticed that same guy. He was standing near the exit and watching us walk towards him. I really got freaked out this time, but couldn't say anything to Nancy. We kept walking to the gate, and I understood we are going to walk past him. It was the scariest few seconds of my life when I almost reached close to him. My breath grew denser and I was out of words. Just the moment when I was about to cross him, I heard his evil laughter. As soon as we got out of the mall, I hopped inside the car. Nancy started the engine and reversed the car to make a U-turn. He was standing near the mall gate. I didn't utter a single word about him to my roommate. I felt she would think I am making up a stupid story. We arrived at our boyfriend's house and started to put up the decorations and prepare ourselves for the party. The entire evening went in such a rush that I almost forgot about this incident at the mall. I also told myself that it was some drunk freehead who tried to spook me in a Hookman costume. The party started, and the house got filled with crazy college students. Nancy and I drank beer and joined everyone on the dance floor. The spooky neon lights and yellow-lighted pumpkin heads all around the house set the right mood for the Halloween party. I was actually having fun, But after a few hours, I started to feel really drunk. The lights all around me with the dramatic decorations made my head feel heavier. So, I decided to head back to my place before I end up vomiting and embarrassing myself. I went to Nancy and asked for the house keys. She handed me over the keys, asking, will I be okay to go alone? I didn't want her to miss the party, so I said I will be fine. I also told her that she could stay at her boyfriend's tonight if she wants. She got happier and told me to go home and lock the doors and have a sound sleep. She will come back early and will also fix me some breakfast in bed. She knew I was going to wake up with a hangover. Anyways, I left the party and started to walk down the street. It wasn't a very long walk, but because I was drunk, I walked pretty slowly. I was being careful not to stumble upon a rock and flip on the road. It was 1:30 a.m., hence the streets were completely empty. There was only the sound of the hollow wind passing by. I was almost near the house just when I heard the sound of a twig snapping behind me. I turned around, but there was no one. I thought, my mind is hallucinating due to too much alcohol in my stomach. I opened the main door with a trembling hand. I got inside the house and locked the door behind me. My head was hurting really bad just when I felt the urge to vomit. I ran towards Nancy's room as it was the closest to the main door. Her room was dark, but the streetlight coming from the window helped me to reach the bathroom. I freshened myself up and decided to go to my room to sleep like a rock. As I opened the door of my room, I saw the window was open. I couldn't remember whether I locked it or not before leaving the house, but knowing myself, I thought I might have. My room was too dark. The window was right beside my bed, so I could spot it with the help of the streetlights again. I was in no position to find the switch, so I threw myself over it. I realized the other half of the room was entirely in darkness. I started to take off my shoes just when I felt something move in that darkness. At first I wasn't sure of it, but after a while, I saw something pointy and shining in that darkness. My head had no control over my body, so I just sat there for some seconds. Just when I realized I should turn on the light to check what it is, someone knocked on the main door. This time, I got really freaked out, but after a small pause, I heard Nancy's voice. "Katie, open the door!" I felt so relieved to know that she came back, I ran to the main door, leaving the room at the moment. Nancy came in and said, "I thought I shouldn't leave you alone tonight, so I came back. Are you alright?" I hugged her and said, "I just got a bit scared being alone in my room." She replied in a comforting voice that she will sleep in my room tonight. As we walked towards our room, we heard a loud thud outside. After getting into the room, I noticed the window was closed this time. My head couldn't take it anymore, so without paying attention to anything, I immediately lied in my bed and fell asleep. If you think the story is over, then let me tell you that the scariest part of the story is yet to come. The next morning, when I woke up, I almost had a heart attack. It felt like all my blood had rushed to my face. The wall on the other side of my room freaked me even in that morning light. Someone has wrote on the wall with a sharp, pointy, hook-like object. Lucky that your roommate came back.